Hi, I'm Danielle Kelly. Welcome to another JPR Live Session, where we get to chat up some wonderful artists and experience one-of-a-kind in-studio performances. Our guests today are here by way of submitting their original music with video to NPR Music's Tiny Desk contest earlier this year and being selected as one of our favorite regional entries. Today in the studio, Ashland, Oregon-based Michal Palzewicz Trio. Welcome, everyone.
Hi. Hi, Danielle.
Hello. Michal is a composer, multi-instrumentalist, here today with his cello, but also I understand you play the violin and viola da gamba. Am I getting that right? Viola
da gamba.
Beautiful. Dan Sherril's here. Our listeners know you, Dan, as well. You're here with the guitar and banjo. They might recognize your name through way of Hollis Peach or the band Patchy Sanders, also co-founder of the Ashland Folk Collective. Mm-hmm. And in lieu of percussionist, steel pan player Reed Bentley, we have acupuncturist, naturopath doctor by day, world musician by night, member of DOS, Dad's on stage, Cedar Miller on the cajon, and a really beautiful custom percussion set. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today. What a treat to get to sit here with you guys. The original song that you submitted to the NPR Music Tiny Desk contest was called New American Flag. The video featured another veteran percussionist player, Reed Bentley. Today, Cedar is here for Reed, and I know you've all played together for years and years, though. This is not the first time you guys have been in a group together, and like I just described, we've got a medley here. I would love to hear your origin story. You're all veteran players here in the Valley with a rich history of playing music in this region. How did you all three come to be playing music together?
Well, it actually, my history is very long, starting from classical music, but fast forward many years, when I moved to the Rock Valley, I was looking for more music connections. And one day, Cedar and I met at our friend's party, and I was always interested in improvisation. And so I feel like this project was actually born long before this trio was started, because by playing with Cedar, I kind of learned how to be inspired and use percussive elements on the cello. So then many years later, I had a band with Cedar that I ended at some point, but it was a beautiful project. And
what was the name of that project?
That one was called Trine.
Okay.
And it was vocals with my former wife, Cecily McCrory, and with Cedar and myself on the cello. And I loved that project, but one thing that was missing was more harmonic instrument. And that's where Dan comes in with guitar and banjo. It just opens so many possibilities. And then having him also sing is amazing, because we get to do more colors with just a group of three people. So then I started working at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival, and I have played many seasons there. We're just talking about how my microphone is already pretty beat up from more than 1,000 performances. And so I think, was it 2017 or 18 were one of those when we met on in the production of Oklahoma, and I just had such an amazing time playing with Dan that we decided to do a green show together. And the last piece we're going to play together is actually the first piece that started this group. So,
cool.
Yeah, I just I think the main idea is, before I started this group, I always wanted to play in groups that were based on friendship and really good chemistry between all the musicians, where we can hang out and really enjoy each other's company, just be friends. So I've continued the tradition and have been lucky to play with those amazing people and friends. Yeah.
That's so beautiful. Well, I'd love to hear a tune. What would you guys like to start with?
We're going to play a song called Hilda.
That is Michal Palzewicz Trio live here at Jefferson Public Radio with a song they wrote called Hilda. Oh, so beautiful. Michal, you've got this, as you mentioned before, background in classical music. You studied at the Warsaw Conservatory and the Manhattan School of Music. Dan, we're very familiar with your folk singing, songwriting work here on the Rhythm and News service. And Cedar, you've got this world music background. That's quite a cocktail of different genres and experience. And not to try to label what it is, but how do you begin when asked to describe what kind of music this is to your listeners?
That was actually quite a challenge because I think we all feel very much wanting to be free, like in terms of our compositional style. So we came up with folk, classical, modern idea, but we're still kind of looking for our genre, or maybe we have to make a new name for it.
Sure.
I think we were on tour in February this year, and what came up was storytelling music, because the instrumental tunes tell their own story, and then the overt singing songs tell their own story. It's like we try to take ourselves on this journey of like high dynamics and low dynamics, and also through the songs themselves try to tell a story to the best we can.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Listened to a lot of your catalog getting ready for today, and I noticed a lot of it is instrumental, and these vocal tunes are the newer additions. And I was thinking, when I sing and write songs, but I'm a vocalist and I don't play an instrument. I'm writing lyrics and stories, and I get to put those melodies over chords and grooves that other instrumentalists, my band, are creating. And so I was just curious, how could you talk to us about how these compositions come about? What's your process for creating instrumental music?
Well, a moment where it started with this particular project was improvising. So sometimes we improvise. We just play music together, and then something happens to like really catch our interest, and then we kind of set it.
Uh-huh.
But there was another inspiration too. We're all dads, and at the time where this group was started, actually a few years before, my daughter was really prolific with her painting, especially watercolors, and she would come up with painting after painting after painting, and a lot of those paintings were horses. So I started making music to her paintings, and so there's a song called Pegasus Flight or Unicorn Sparkles. So all of those were based on her paintings.
Aha! There is a strong equestrian theme through your catalog, and I was wondering where the love of horses began. I see. That's beautiful. Yeah. And I saw that you do a lot of improvisational work too, and especially as a solo artist. And just curious about like how do you prepare for that, and what and when you're jamming, how does from someone who doesn't play an instrument, how do you begin a jam like that? How do you decide where to start? How do you playing together? Is it choosing
it starts with listening, because there's a beautiful relationship between doing and receiving, and giving and receiving, right? So someone said that music is the silence in between the notes, but the beauty of improvisation is that it becomes a language, a dialogue, and when we get together, we're speaking to each other with our instruments. So it's equally listening and then also expressing to talk to the fellow musicians.
Mm-hmm. I would also say that even like the first song we played is not an improvisation, but for me as a player in this group, when we play that song, I try to come to it as a brand new experience and say, oh, how are we going to do this part this time? How are we going to do that part this time? And even though it is thoroughly written out, it still feels like an improvisation to me, because I'm trying to come to it with that spark of spontaneity, even though we've played that song 500 times or something.
Sure. I noticed you do this really unique kind of performance there was a wellness retreat. There was a brand of performances that I saw you do where you're involved in sound healing. Am I getting this right? Like a retreat where the music is sort of part of the experience for people? That seemed really fascinating, like music healing or something.
Well, I'm also a yoga teacher, and before the pandemic, I used to do that regularly. So teach a restorative yoga class and play live cello to it. And many years ago, Cedar actually used to join me on those. So he has experienced that. We haven't done it with Dan, although we have. I've asked Dan to play singing bowls, Tibetan singing bowls, in one of our shows.
It's true.
So we're very much fascinated with that aspect of music that makes you feel good. And actually, it also is kind of embedded in our writing style. That, totally. It's something that's supposed to brighten the day, or move our hearts in certain direction. Yeah. But I always put it on my friends.
My next question was that knowing Cedar in the community as an alternative healer, having Jade Mountain acupuncture practice, I wondered if you two collaborated in any kind of music, medicinal music together. But I guess that seems to be where your roots began.
Yeah, I was really thrilled to be able to come and work with Michal. We did some nice sessions where he would teach yoga and then be going out there and I'd be playing tablas or didgeridoo or something else, and he would go around and then he'd come over and play cello for a while. People would stay in their poses and then he'd go back out and help them. It's really beautiful. It's like, and the weaving of the medicine and the music, like for me, that's what keeps my heart open, keeps me every day feeling like I can just keep doing the work I do. I'm not an alternative healer. I'm technically like an integrative or collaborative.
There we go. Thank you.
Just because there's really no alternative medicine. There's just medicine.
Yeah.
And it can be anything from the way that Michal plays the note on the cello to a prayer you have to, if you're a person with cancer, you got chemotherapy, whatever. It's all medicine. And so it all works together. That's my philosophy. And so, with Michal, it feels like there's medicine embedded in this music. And I've just been getting to know Dan too. And he brings a lot of medicine and a lot of magic. I see him as a magic storyteller. And that's really special to me. So.
That's true. There's medicine in storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you. My guest today is the Michal Palzewicz Trio. It's Cedar Miller on percussion. We have Michal on the cello and Dan Sherril on a couple instruments today. Right now, banjo in his lap. I'd love to hear another tune. What would you like to play for us next?
Yeah, this next tune is going to be called New American Flag.
I can hear the people's voice at last. We must resist the hate and violence that plagued our diseased past, to raise the new American flag, American flag, the new American flag, the new American flag, the new American flag, the new American flag. I can hear the people's voice at last. We must resist the hate and violence that plagued our diseased past, to raise the new American flag, American flag, the new American flag, the new American flag, the new American flag. American flag. I can hear the people's voice at last. We must resist the hate and violence that plagued our diseased past, to raise a new American flag, American flag, the new American flag, the new American flag, the new American flag, the new American flag.
That's New American Flag. Michal Palzewicz Trio here live at JPR. Beautiful. Great patriotic song for this time of the year here in this country.
Interdependence Day.
There we go. Hey, Dan, our listeners may or may not have heard or put together that you are one of the co-founders of Ashland Folk Collective,
True.
which is an organization that we love to work alongside to promote live music happening in our region. And we also know that you and your co-founder partner, Jackie, have relocated to the other coast. Mm-hmm. And I guess that makes you a bi-coastal band now. So I'm wondering how's the move going? How's the new babe? And how does that work being here, the band being located here in Ashland and out east?
Totally. Well, yeah, the adventure has been, with its ups and downs. Ashland is an amazing place to live. And then moving back to where I grew up, even in the house that I grew up in with Jackie and our son, Fable, with his grandparents, with my parents, we're all under the same roof. That was a moment of transition, and it's really beautiful, to be honest. It's going to be sad for me when we eventually do leave that home, because that family vibe is so good for my soul, and I hope it's good for theirs as well. So we're there for now. I think that the intention is to start another folk collective there, wherever we may end up. It could be North Carolina, it could be the Poconos, it could be Maine or New Hampshire. I don't know. We're kind of exploring what it means to be back on the East Coast. For this project, the Michal Palzewicz Trio, I think that our goal, the momentum forward for us, is doing conferences. And that means the ones that I know about, at least as a folk musician, are the ones associated with Folk Alliance International. And it's either the Northeast Regional Folk Alliance or the Far West Folk Alliance, or even the big one in, I don't know where it is exactly next year, but those big folk music conferences that bring in a lot of people that kind of hold the keys to the next level for groups like us. Because we all have a lot of experience playing music, but this project is still relatively new. Mm-hmm. And so in this valley, we've had great success. We got lucky enough to open up the Brits season the beginning of this month. The next step for us is to continue to compose music and go to these conferences, and hopefully with instruments in tow, turn the right heads for the progress of our group. I think we're all going to continue, I know Michal's going to continue to do his solo stuff. I'll continue to do my solo stuff. Same with Cedar. We're all going to continue to do our thing. But for me, a priority of this project, I love playing music with Michal and Cedar and whoever joins us on percussion too. But it's a priority for us. Mm-hmm. And we're lucky enough that it's a semi-simple plane ride. It's pretty far, plane ride, but the goal is to continue this project and prioritize it as kind of number one on our list.
Yeah.
As far as music projects
And
go.
what's next? What is the next show or the next conference for y'all?
Hopefully, well, we applied for some in October. Mm-hmm. We should be hearing about whether or not we've been accepted into those showcases probably in the next week or so.
A way to stay tuned and follow your goings on would be, what's the best way? Would it be the website?
Yeah, the website is good. It's mptmusic.com, or Instagram's mptmusic.official on Instagram, and that's kind of where we post things. There's also Facebook stuff. I think the best place to start is on the website, mptmusic.com.
Sure.
You can find we try our best to keep it updated.
Yeah,
But
they've
we
got
are
some
all
beautiful
dads.
videos. You guys should all check it out. It's a beautiful rabbit hole to go down. And in the meantime, what you all have lots of other projects happening. You're just you got such full calendars. What other projects and shows do you have coming up with your other projects?
Yeah, so for me, I've been really focusing a lot on traditional old-timey clawhammer banjo. So last year I released a solo clawhammer banjo record that was picked up by a record label. Really grateful for that experience. And the next one is already done and recorded. I just have to sit down and mix it, which with a 1.5-year-old son is difficult sometimes. But for me, that solo piece of clawhammer banjo in particular, for whatever reason in my musical path, guitar has been there for the last 25 years, but banjo is the last 10 or 12 years, and I'm really doubling down and focusing on the clawhammer banjo right now for me.
Wonderful.
And for me, I have a series of concerts, one in Ashland, one in Grants Pass, and one in Mount Shasta, with a classical trio. I oftentimes collaborate with pianist Chiharu Sai, and I also have another friend, Abi Walensky, who is a violinist. So we're putting together some Beethoven and Mozart trios and a variety of other pieces. And those events are on Eventbrite. So if you look up my last name, which is pretty complicated, but it's Michal Palzewicz, spelled Palzewicz. Then you can find information about those concerts and get tickets to those. And that's next week. The one in Ashland is on July 12th, on Wednesday,
Beautiful.
at the Methodist Church.
Wonderful. And Cedar, what's musical for you this season?
Oh, there's been a lot of really good things. I played that Peace Village Festival with Sasha Bros, Sasha Butterfly, and Tina Malia and Freedom. It was just wonderful to do that. And I'm playing with Tom Stamper this summer. He's like my coach, my teacher, such an amazing drummer.
Hey, Tom.
Transmitting all this beautiful, just legendary music to me. And I'm playing with a group called Dose, Dads on Stage. We have a show at Red Rocks here coming up in July. That's with two of my favorite musical collaborators, Random Rab and Ilya Goldberg of Lapa. And then I've got some local projects. I work with Peter Gross a lot. We've got a nice little thing with Dave Gelfand and a trio. We'll be doing some shows this summer too. So just keeping it happening,
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So returning to the catalog, we discussed the equestrian theme. We've got galloping horses, playful horses, sparkle horses, Pegasus, just charming names. And so we've learned that these were inspired by paintings by your daughter. That's wonderful. Dan shared a little tidbit the other day that galloping horses on Spotify, the algorithms are back to classification are introducing you or vice versa to death metal fans.
It's true. So in February we were on tour and we just released the record with the Kiwi on it, and we were listening to it on Apple Music or Spotify or something, and the song that came after the last song on the record was like this death metal, and we looked at the title, it was like horses decaying in an open field or something, and it was like, wow, interesting. And if you went forward...
That was not our intention.
No, definitely not our intention. If you go forward a little bit, it's just all this like bass-heavy, double bass drum, like death metal music. And it's like, wow, I wonder if it's like an EQ curve, because it's definitely, there's moments where our songs are very bass-heavy. But that was fascinating to us. And it was a story that we told every single show. If you like our music, just maybe you like death metal too.
Yeah. What a great music discovery story. Yeah. That's so beautiful. Well, I think we have time for one more song. What would you like to wrap up with?
Well, we'll finish with Galloping Stallion.
Horses.
Galloping Stallion. That is live in the studio, Michal Palzewicz Trio, their death metal gateway song, available on all streaming platforms. You can find their music at mptmusic.official. That's their social media handle. And then .com is the website, mptmusic. Thank you all for coming in so much. Any other way that they can find you, or a place that they can see your videos and listen to your music?
We're also on all the streaming platforms.
All the streaming platforms.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you feel adventurous and you go on YouTube and try to spell Michal's name, you'll find all of our music there too. Or you just search interesting horse names, you'll probably find us there too.
Or just death metal is fine too.
Or just death metal. Cello death metal.
It's Michal Palzewicz. That is Palzewicz. Michal, thank you so much. Cedar, Dan, thanks for coming in, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your summer, hopefully full of lots of music. I'm Danielle Kelly. This session has been engineered by John Griffin of Luna's End Studios. You can find this session archived on our website later today, ijpr.org. Our live sessions podcast is also available on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Thanks so much. Thanks for listening. Open Air will continue right after this.